Hi, friend. It's Matt Potratz here again, and I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. And if you went shopping, I think you're crazy, but I'm thankful you survived it. This week, I hope you'll really take a few minutes to slow down and process this thought. Every one of us, no matter how old, how strong, how successful, has a child within us. Why do I say that? Well, because we were all once a child, and there's still some of that child somewhere in us. I believe we try to discount moments or events that took place in our childhood, saying, oh, but I was just a kid. But reality is, the events of our childhood were shaping us in who and what we are today. I rarely brought up my childhood and didn't want to revisit it until I realized the impact of one significant event that had a relatively lengthy lifespan. Few of you know this, but as a child and young boy, I struggled with a colon disease called Hirschsprung's disease. I couldn't feel when I had to go to the bathroom, and I suffered from painful constipation, and at other times the reverse, and often had accidents in my pants, well beyond the age that I should have. My local doctors experimented with suggesting food allergies, developmental issues, and even just stubbornness, but none of that was the case. Along with bowel control, my body couldn't properly process nutrients, and so I was malnourished. It also caused my colon to grow abnormally, and I essentially had an adult-sized colon at age 6. So my stomach was bloated out like a big balloon, and looked rather silly, quite honestly. At one point, I remember I could set a glass of water on top of my belly because it stuck out enough to be like a shelf on top. Needless to say, I didn't look normal. I looked funny, and our world then wasn't much different than our world now. I got made fun of and laughed at times. Even though surgery repaired the problem by the end of the first grade, my body took many years to fully recover, and I essentially had to grow into my colon, and my body didn't look normal until I took a growth spurt in early high school. So I still fought some insecurity about my body. I'm fully functioning now, and normal I guess you'd say, but the scars from that season of my childhood still affect me greatly. You read my book about my addiction to success. In counseling, I discovered that addiction stems back to that little boy with the big belly. When they poked fun at me, I made a decision in my little 6-year-old heart. Poke fun all you want. Someday, you're going to wish you could be me. And I've tirelessly been trying to prove myself to be better than them ever since. And for the most part, I guess you could say that I've succeeded doing so. I excelled in sports, graduated as an honor student and class salutatorian. And as we discussed last week, after business college, I excelled in the business world. And if you know my story, you know that I also achieved an elite status on a snowmobile. I went from hero to zero in an avalanche and rebounded to today being an author and speaker. You might be thinking at this point, well, great, you made lemonade out of lemons. And that's a great thought, but it's been completely exhausting. Here's why. That little boy with the big belly and dirty underwear made a decision that not only am I going to prove myself to be better than the morons poking fun at me, I'm going to prove myself to be better than me. Process that. It sounds silly, but it might be you too. The problem is, as I'm sure you agree, it's not possible to be better than me. I can only be me. It's a race with no finish line, and often we don't even give ourselves a water break because we're afraid we'll lose ground. It's madness, but it's real. The child within us is screaming, go, 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 as if we can achieve enough to heal that wound from our childhood. Friend, I don't know if you had a colon disease or suffered from abuse of any kind, had a teacher or coach crush your heart, got made fun of, had an absent father or mother, lost someone close to you, or whatever it might be. But I'm nearly certain that whether you're in high school or you're retired, something negative from your childhood still holds a place in your heart. I hope many positive experiences do too, but the child within us screaming, "Go, go, go," is the one that needs our attention. Discover what hurt that child within you. Get an accountability partner you trust to love you unconditionally, and spill out what that child needs to say. Accept that child for who he or she was. Address any lies that child is telling you. Forgive that child. And lastly, friend, I don't know if it's possible to complete this and find freedom until you hand that little child over to the loving, merciful hands of God. Tell that child you're very proud of the man or woman it's become. Say goodbye and let go. The child within us will forever exist because it's part of who we are today. But the child screaming, "You're not good enough yet," needs to be silenced. Friend, these thoughts are relatively deep, but they're from my heart. It may not be for you right now, but I'm guessing you know someone you need to pass it on to who's ready to listen and find healing in it. Have a blessed week.